used in, what is the date format, what's the number format, how is the text sorted, all the things that I've mentioned before. And one of the standards that's really important is the CLDR. We use the CLDR in MediaWiki a lot. Now, at this moment in time, we support more languages than the CLDR does. So the consequence is that for many languages, we don't have any information to go by. And what we really need is our people, our community, to help us with that information. But when we ask them to provide it for MediaWiki only, it does not make sense because all these other applications need them as much as we do. And so what we need is, we need your help. And this help will take the form of something called language support teams. And what we need is, we need people who can support us with information about their language, the language that they know. Now, to help you appreciate this, at this moment in time, the the localization team supports something like 300 languages. We have something like 6 people. Now, the mathematics would say that we all need to know 50 languages in order to provide proper support for you. Well, I can tell you, I know 3 languages. And Sibron knows those same 3 languages. So that doesn't work. So we need you to provide us with information. Because with that information, you can help us with standard information. Information that is so obvious and so plainly clear, but it needs to be registered. We need to know it. You can help us with pointing out issues with your language. You can help us test our language technology before it goes live on our wikis. This, helping us with the localization, is not the most important thing for the language supporting. Because basically, when everything is said and done, then we have all the information, then it makes sense for people who have specialized information to support us with localization. The language support teams are organized at translatewiki.net. Now, the reason for that is, for us it's simple, for you may want to understand. The thing is, the most urgent need for support is felt, for MediaWiki, is felt at translatewiki.net. Because every software that is written goes in production almost the same day at translate.wiki. We always live at the bleeding edge. We always need the latest information and all the information that we can use from the standards. And when we have early observations about things that are wrong, then we will have them at translatewiki.net. So if many people come regularly to us, we will find early on if there are problems and what those problems will be. Now, as localization is an iterative process, we need for your support for your language continuously. And for that reason, it is so obvious to have particularly localizers be part of those language support teams. And as you know from Sibron, we support many applications. We learn from them, and we work in what we do for the standards we do for them as well. Alright, so here I'm going wrong because I thought this one was saved. Anyway, the message is when standards are checked and when standards are appended or amended, it only needs to be done once. Because if you do this once and you do it in a standard, then the same information will flow down to any and all other applications. And this is why it makes so much sense for us to concentrate on standards and have you work on standards and make sure that your language is supported in a standard way. Because when we have a standard for supporting languages, it does not only help us, it doesn't help all the other applications, but most of all, it helps you. And that's it. Questions?
How do you join language support team?
Right. Well, first of all, do you know your language?
I hope so. I mean, better than if my language does not exist.
Well, your language does exist.
No, I'm
okay.
talking about
So if your language does not exist in
what I mean to say is, online on Wikipedia, the access or the availability or the people using it, the number of users are 4. I got to know today.
What's the language?
Gurumukhi Punjabi.
Well,
And I don't know how many of them are active now.
well, the first thing to appreciate is,
Yeah, today
27 active, there are more than 3,000.
no,
okay, okay.
different slide.
It's very simple. From a language supporting point of view, if you know your language and you know your script, then you can start helping us entering the data for Punjabi in Gurumukhi in the CLDR. You can start doing that. And when you do that, basically you are effectively already part of the Punjabi localization team. And if you want to be more formal, we have a page called Localization Team, or it's translatewiki.net. And when you go there, you can enter your name and say, for Punjabi, I am a member of the language support team. So basically, you appoint yourself. And if you are good, you get yourself some friends, particularly people with qualifications, who know the language, who know because they studied it, and they will say with you that the information that you provided in the CLDR is correct, because it is a standard, and those standard bodies want people, multiple people, to provide them with the credibility that the information that you provide is correct. So when you do that, you help yourself, you help your language, and you help us.
There is one more issue, sir. A certain professor from Punjab, here from Punjab.
Well, can we have one conversation through me? One conversation through me. If you want to talk, you talk through me, not to him.
The point here is, a professor from Indian side of Punjab, he is working on a project. I don't know whether the project has been completed. The thing is, Punjabi is written in 2 scripts. One is the Shamukhi script, which is similar to Urdu and Arabic, and another is the Gurumukhi script. So the nature of the project was that if anybody types something in Gurumukhi, it will be integrated in Shamukhi and similar vice versa. So
But that is a different story. That is a different story because, wait a second.
Can the software be somehow integrated with Wikipedia so that what has already been done in one version need not be redone in another?
Yes, it can. And that is already what we do for specific languages. We do that already for Serbian, because Serbian at wikimedia.org is saved in the Cyrillic script. But if you want to, you can see the same content in the Latin script. You can edit in the Latin scripts. It's converted back into Cyrillic, and that's what is saved. So we do that, and we do that for other languages as well. So if there is software that allows us to transliterate from one script to another and back, and do that lossless, so without any problems, then we're quite happy to support that. I am part of the localization team, and the localization team is really happy to help you to enable scripts that do exactly that for your language. So if there are 2 scripts for one language, we're quite happy to support you in having only one text for each article. And that would be a good thing, because if you have 2 scripts for the same language, then there are different communities. And as a consequence of having one Wikipedia showing it in both scripts, we only have one neutral point of view. So supporting transliteration from one script to another is something that we really love to do. Okay? And for your information, Santosh has written about transliteration for the Konkani language, and he created a framework that allows you to do exactly that. And what I've learned from him is that there are specific language-specific things that need to be added in order to make it work for other Indic languages as well. And one of the subjects of the hackathon that's going to start tomorrow is exactly that. Support for Indic languages, support for things like transliterations like, for instance, for Konkani, but apparently also for Punjabi. Now, if you know your language and you have good contacts in your language, and you have know that language and you have contacts for that language, get together, spoke to this professor who has written this script, get this script, make it available to us, and make the professor part of the language support team, and basically do a good thing for your language.
Most of the Indian languages nowadays, like Malayalam, Indian, they all start this way. Even by 2003, we have some kind of primitive Malayalam wiki, ml.malayalam.org. And we used to just enter Monglish, the English Latin version of the Malayalam in very, very short pages.
Yes.
That's how we started our genesis.
Yes, but there is one difference between then and now.
Yes, yes.
And the difference now
over
is
the years,
that we the development of WikiWiki has developed to the extent that we are now ready and able to provide you with language support. And one of the things that we are doing is we are telling you that if you know the right people and you contact the right people and you make them together support your language, that we can be much more on the ball and provide you much earlier with the kind of tools that you need. That's the difference between then and now.
it's more dynamic now.
And there is more support for languages, because we know to what extent the Indic languages can grow. Because in my opinion, it would not be crazy to say that there can be a year where an Indic language does grow by 1000%. That's easy. At this stage in the game, it's easy for all the Indic languages. Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much.